Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Alex. I am your host here with Janae. This is our third episode of Awakening to Ascension podcast. Today's topic will be cultivating inner light. And cultivating inner light is very important these days, especially when the world is so crazy and chaotic. Like we'll watch the news and so many depressing things are happening. We struggle to find jobs and maintain our bank accounts, but when we find the inner wealth or the inner peace, we find we don't really need those things.
Absolutely. And so, something I would like to just bring up from the start is the cultivation of light doesn't just happen naturally. Some beings are just naturally light beings, but their light isn't just embodied because they just are light. They do the work, they do the inner work. You know that saying of your outside world is a reflection of your inside world.
Hmm.
And if your inside world is chaotic and unstructured, and like if your car is just a big mess and your drawers in your cupboard and you don't know where anything is, that's going to reflect your external world. So it's going to make everything also just very unorganized, and you're going to feel rushed and you're going to feel late and you're just all over the place. So, with that being said, just the cultivation within is being able to work on yourself. And the biggest aspect of cultivating that light is gratitude. So when you live in a space of gratitude, that is when you truly embody just this happy, joyful, elated essence that you can give out to the world because you are just so truly thankful. And I said this to somebody yesterday. I said to him, when I go to the bathroom, the smallest things I'm grateful for every single day. When I go to the bathroom, I actually give thanks to going to the toilet because I have a functioning body, my organs are functioning. I say thanks to the toilet for doing its job. And I say thank you to the water for flushing what is going into the toilet. And it's those small things that you just start to slowly integrate into your daily lifestyle and routine, like brushing your teeth. You give gratitude because the more you give gratitude, the more you actually see how abundant you are in life. And by doing that, you are able to emit this light that can then be given out to the world. And that's how we are going to create this ripple effect. It's when you smile at somebody, that person is like, oh my gosh, I just got smiled at. And then they're going to go smile at somebody, or they're going to pay for somebody's bread, and then that person's going to be like, oh my gosh. And then it's just going to be this beautiful, beautiful creation that we are able to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Gratitude, I'd say that is like one of the top, if not the top way to cultivate your inner light. We so frequently take things for granted. I mean, you were mentioning like going to the bathroom, but like in the same room, look at the shower. Like we get heated waterfalls at our command, right? Like that's crazy. If you asked a caveman or told a caveman about that, they would lose their mind, right?
I know. But listen, on that topic, also, just even the hot water, I have a friend who, because, the cost of living has increased and it's become a stress, it's become something that has put society in a fear-based frequency. So, because the cost of living has increased so much and the water has increased, the cost of water, turning on her geyser to heat up her water costs money. So, do you know that she actually only has a hot shower every 2 months? And there are people, and you wouldn't even think when you look at her, you wouldn't even believe that that is going on. And you've got also just communities that they don't even have running water. They don't have clean water. So it's taking those small things like you mentioned as well, just the showering.
Yeah, that's important to know too. And like being white and living in America, we have it so good. And like it's really sad when we complain about things that we don't have because we have so much. And with gratitude, something interesting happens when psychologically when you notice and when you show more gratitude. So it's not just saying the words, I'm thankful for this, I'm grateful for that, like I was raised with like the prayer format or structure, but it's actually like feeling the gratitude. Like I am actually really glad I have this. Like I have these walls and this hoodie that keep me warm because it's really cold outside. And when you notice and like verbally identify the things that you're grateful for, your brain will start to rewire and begin to automatically notice these things that bring you joy and happiness and comfort. And then the next thing that happens is you begin to step into that frequency, and more things to be grateful for will find their way into your world. So it's not really about changing the world, it's like about changing yourself and changing your corner that will ripple out for else like towards the rest of the world.
I, like I also just want to mention that these neurons and the rewiring of your brain that occurs is quite it's quite an experience to notice, because even when you are put into situations that you might not feel grateful in that moment, because you get faced with these things and sometimes you wonder to yourself, oh, why is this happening? And you have to also change that narrative to why is this happening, but you have to change it to what is this teaching me. And when you can change that, and when you're in the situation, so um I most recently, or I still currently am in something that is a little bit more heavy. And I've changed the narrative. So instead of feeling that heavy, I've changed it to, wow, this is so much fun, because I'm training my brain to actually enjoy it. Because when you when you sit in that heavy, then heavy is attracted to you. So it just continues to become heavy for you. And then just with regards to the light that we starting the discussion on, another way that I've also found that's helped me in my own personal journey is when you're feeling a little bit like agitated or irritated and you are lowering your frequency, because it does happen. We are living in a world that, you said, it's the news and it's certain situations, circumstances, environments, people. So when that frequency drops, an exercise that I do and that I practice is, because love is the highest frequency that we embody. So what you do is you say, either in your mind, if you're in a situation where you can't say it out loud, but if you can say it out loud, you say, I love the sun and I love going on walks and I love animals and I love looking at clouds and I love this yellow shirt that I've got on, and I love the fact that I get to wear glasses because then I look cool, and I love that my hair goes wavy sometimes, and I love jumping up and down, and I love having coffee. And as you continue that practice, you actually start seeing how much you love whatever you're mentioning, and it completely like takes you out of that lower vibration. So that's just something I wanted to add.
That totally works. That's actually what I did to, well, help me overcome depression. Is literally, I mean, it works similar to like affirmations, but just noticing and saying things that you love. And it
Mm.
even works for things that you want to love that you don't. So like I would do things like I love having a clean apartment, even though like I don't like cleaning. But I kept saying that, and then believe it or not, like a week later, I found myself just automatically cleaning up the kitchen. I'm just like, oh, I'm not even thinking about this, and it's happening. It works with working out. Like you're at the gym and you're like, this sucks. Don't say it sucks. Be like, I love this. I love this. I love this, even though like it's super hard and you
It's
don't
that
like it.
reprogram.
Yeah,
You
and then your brain will
reprogramming.
start because
Yes.
your brain does what it thinks that you want it to do. So if it hears those words, especially coming out of your mouth, it's like, oh, this person really must love this. And it works the same with the opposite. If you say, oh, I hate myself, I suck, your brain's going to be like, oh, you hate yourself? Well, let's give you a really crappy life and make you hate yourself even more because that's clearly what you want because you keep saying it over and over. And then
So
as far
that's
as, yeah.
Yeah, so that's also something that you have to be so self-aware with, and I think Melissa mentioned it in the episode yesterday, is the words you speak. So I mentioned that numbers hold frequency, letters and words. They say it's called spelling because it's a spell that you're
You're casting a
casting out.
spell.
Exactly. So you have to be so mindful of what you speak because your mind is hearing it back to you. And also when you like 5 years later put in a situation that you're like, what's this? I didn't ask for this, but you may have unconsciously asked for it 5 years ago because you said something in conversation. So another practice that I started doing was when you are around individuals that are gossiping, it is a low vibration because they are speaking about other people. It isn't love frequency because I mean, obviously, if you're speaking about somebody in a good way, that's different. But when you are in those circles of people and you find yourself around situations that you're in, you don't, you choose to stay silent. So you don't add to the conversation. You don't speak the words because then it's an even bigger spell that you're casting because there's many words that are being spoken. So you have to be so careful of your thoughts and the words that you speak because those are going to impact again that internal world with that external what you see.
Yeah, and that plays into cultivating inner peace as well, because if you find yourself in a situation, in a group of people that don't match your vibration, they don't align with you, and they are talking bad about somebody, you might feel like you don't want to be a part of that group. Then you can remove yourself. Or if you feel like you need to contribute and mimic them, then you're betraying yourself because you don't want to actually say that, but you're doing it to fit in. That's not cultivating inner light. So what you'd want to do, I mean, and it could be risky to speak up and be like, "Yo, you guys are saying some nonsense. Like, stop talking about this because, like we're social creatures, and if you exile yourself in certain ways, that's just the reality that we live in." And then
But you
also,
also you're the change that you want to see in the world. So if you actually tell that group, listen, guys, I don't think that's it's let's change the subject, or you change the subject. So you lead the conversation in another direction.
that would be the ideal situation, yeah, because you could change the minds. And how do you know most of the other people aren't feeling the same way and they're just waiting for somebody to stand up and be that leader so they can be like, yeah, you know what? This is messed up. We're talking about this. I would
And
say,
also, yeah, you would
oh,
say.
just be that person to stand out. I mean, a lot of us are as light workers, like indigo children, like we've got a problem with authority and we're not afraid to say it.
And we speak our truth.
Yeah.
It makes people quite uncomfortable. But I wanted I wanted to say that I actually did a post today and it said a flower can't bloom. Well, you can't make a flower bloom by changing the flower. You have to change the environment that the flower is in. So you also have to get uncomfortable with the change. Well, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if you are choosing to surround yourself with certain people and low vibrations and frequencies, then that's your choice. So you have the choice you can decide. I don't actually want to surround myself with these people anymore. And when you do that, you actually find by removing your energy from that frequency that you call in the people that are aligned with you. And it's something so off topic, but it's something that has been ingrained with me is if you are sitting with four millionaires, you will become the fifth millionaire. And if you are sitting with four drunks, you will become the fifth drunk. So it truly is who you are surrounding yourself with because it's something a Buddhist psychologist also said to me the one says, it takes 27 minutes for our energetic field, so our atoms, our blood, our water, our frequency, when you're in company of somebody else, it takes 27 minutes for your two light bodies to connect. And once that 27 minutes has happened and you are now connected, it takes another 27 minutes for your entire biological chemistry to start changing. So that's why you must be so careful with how long you spend with certain individuals. And it's, when you're doing certain activities or things, you should just be mindful of that as well.
That's new information. That's good to know.
It was so it's because I teach movement and I would get quite affected by the energies, not only because I'm an empath, but it was quite a lot. And also just with my personal environment that I was in, external to my work. And he said to me, because if you want to change the vibration and the biological chemistry of another being, it takes that amount of time. And that's why his sessions were specifically at a certain time, like we could only be in each other's vicinity for a certain period of time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense though. That does. So
Mm.
I'm thinking we should, so as far as cultivating inner light, one thing that I wanted to circle back to is something that you said earlier, that I agreed with when you were saying that you change your perspective on like challenges or obstacles that come your way, rather than looking at them in like a victim perspective, look at them like a game or an opportunity. And if you're able to do that and things like something bad happens and you're able to just kind of smile, and if there's anyone that sees you doing it, they're just like, huh, that person was completely unaffected by that BS that just happened to them. Like that has a ripple effect too. Do you know of any other techniques or methods to cultivate inner light?
So I just want to mention about cultivating inner light. And once, so you know that analogy of a moth is drawn to a flame.
Mhm.
So you just have to be very mindful that when you do cultivate this light, because if you are on your awakening journey, or if you are beginning your awakening journey, when you cultivate light, it is attracting dark. So you just have to be quite mindful of protecting your light
Mm,
as well. You you need to understand that you can't always give light. You need to also give light to yourself. So a lot of light workers and healers, I'm sure that you can attest to this. We give so much of our light that we become so depleted after a certain amount of time because we are such light beings that we then have to go internally to fill our cup, essentially. So you just have to be mindful of how much light you are giving, and you also don't have to give light to certain individuals if it is intuitively guided for you not to do so, and just doing protection. So I say protection prayers over me every single day, which then protects my light. And by doing that, you can just say in your mind that I protect my energies. And something else that is also just an awareness is if you are feeling this darkness that is onto you, let's say you wake up and you're in a bad mood, but you're never usually in a bad mood. That's not your energy. That's not your light. So you say, I return to sender with love, and you return it back. And you say the protection prayer, and you close your eyes and you just envision an energetic bubble of light around you that's protecting you.
good point. Good point. Yeah, because as you do shine, you attract, like you said, the darkness, or well, so you'll attract people that are jealous of your light and they'll want it for themselves, or you'll attract people that want to extinguish your light, or you'll attract people that their darkness is exposed and they also don't want to be exposed because they're doing shady stuff, you know? Um, Shoot, what was I gonna say?
Well, I think as well, when you are shining, something that I've just experienced personally is because I've always been this light being since I was little. I mean, I was the classroom clown constantly. I just had people in stitches because I wanted to make light of my surroundings and make people feel good, because we do just live these lives that there's so much going on that you just want to, you don't know what's going on in another person's life. So kindness is always something that you should practice. But with that, I want to say that a lot of people, like you said, will be jealous of your light. Please don't ever dim your light, because that is your soul. That is your blueprint. That is your essence. And when you dim that light, you are not only doing an injustice to yourself, but you're doing an injustice to the people that are around you. So you've got to shine bright. And I think that our lights are dimmed because of the schooling system sometimes. I heard something yesterday where it said that as children, we were just suppressed because when a teacher asked a question for us to answer in a classroom full of children, you would raise your hand. But you were told, no, put your hand down. I'm actually going to ask Sally. Sally, what is the answer? So then you were kind of like suppressed not to voice or like speak out. Or so society has, again, like the matrix that we spoke about yesterday and the system, it's disconnecting us from our true selves. So I just want to make that a really like big highlight, is to please don't dim your light, because there are people that need it to be shining.
Yeah, that's something that happens. I think it's going to be in one of our future episodes too, as far as like the programming that we find through society. I did remember what I was going to say. It was in regards to your like filling your cup thing. So it is paramount. It's super important that you do self-care. Take care of yourself first. I call this selfless selfishness. Because it's like if you try to fill somebody's cup from your cup that's empty, it's not going to fill up their cup. But if you focus on yourself until your cup is full and it begins to overflow, then it will spill into others' cups and you won't even have to work as hard. It'll just be, by example, which is the best way to do it, I think.
And also, filling your cup is just like being yourself. It's just choosing you. You are the most important person. And so many people have argued this with me, especially parents with children, because I always would say that I come first. I, like me, I am the most important person in my life, because, again, if you're in an airplane, what do they say? If the airplane's going down and the masks drop, do you put the mask on the person next to you, or do you put the mask on yourself first? Because how are you able to show up for somebody else if you're not showing up for yourself first?
Right, exactly. It's like, yeah, some people don't want to be selfish, but without you, you don't exist. So at some point, you got to
Yeah.
come first.
But it's also not selfish. I think that's,
It's not.
again, a
No,
programming that
it's not.
society has made us believe. It's not selfish at all. If anything, it's the most important thing that you can do. Because don't you find when you do give yourself that love, how good you feel?
And how much easier
If
it
you,
is to give that love to others. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Because you're not drained, you're
absolutely.
not on empty, you're vital, you're vibrant, ready to give and love. Yeah, it's way easier to do when you have your own cup full.
Yes, and I think that, if we can maybe give a practice that is going to cultivate light by doing something that is self-love. Something that I want to just mention is we are creative beings. When you tap into your creativity, that is when you tap again into a very high vibrational frequency. And you want to be in high vibrational frequencies as often as possible. So tapping into your creativity is going to look very different to everybody. And as children, they are high vibrational frequency beings. Children, they can switch emotion like this. They'll be crying because they just hit their leg, and 3 seconds later, they are laughing because something fell off the shelf. So what I say with creativity is by connecting to your inner child. So finding what your inner child used to love doing. And if your inner child used to love painting, go paint. If your inner child used to love making music, go make music. if they used to love writing up, imaginative stories, then go write because that is also essentially what you are here on earth to embody is your creativity. It's to continue living through your inner child. So that's just something that you can do as a selfless practice to ensure that your vibration is not only staying high, but to also ensure, excuse me, that your cup is full and that you are cultivating light. And the more often you do it, you'll see just a drastic difference in your external world.
That's great advice. Yeah, they say the things that you love to do as a kid before all the influence is what your soul and what you truly love. And that's all the time we have for tonight. I would like to thank everyone for watching. If you have any comments on how to cultivate inner light, go ahead and drop it in the comments, like and subscribe. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.